Did you know that Michio Kaku posted photos of Venus City recently released by the Soviet Union? Hold on to your wings, space enthusiasts. These images have never been seen before and have never been seen outside of this world. And the news reveals some of the secrets of our closest friend, Venus. What do these 10-year-old photos, taken with Soviet lenses, tell us about this mysterious planet? Are we on the verge of redefining our understanding of the world? Join us as we dive into the interstellar universe with renowned physicist Michio Kaku and discover the secrets that have been hidden among the stars for ages. People of the world started decades ago. And when looking at the Cold War, which began immediately after the end of World War II and extended into the 1980s, one cannot forget the space race that took place between the United States and the Soviet Union. The two great powers engaged in a kind of competition, each trying to demonstrate its superiority not only in military and political affairs, but also in the fields of technology and science. The area of space exploration is one of the main areas for this competition. The space race is not about conquering the great unknown, but a symbolic theater where both countries can showcase their technological prowess to the whole world. The Soviet Union really wanted to show its strength in this area. A major moment occurred in 1957 when the Soviet Union launched Sputnik, the world's first reusable satellite. This event is anti-Semitism. The launch of Sputnik marked the beginning of a new era in space exploration. This little satellite made a big impression when it orbited the Earth and sent its beeping signal. It marks the beginning of a new run, not just for the stars, but for world power and recognition. But why is Venus in the spotlight right now? Venus is our closest planetary companion and is similar to Earth in many ways, such as size and composition, which is why it is called Earth's sister planet. But like siblings, there can be a big difference. The big question is how similar Venus is to Earth. Could it be a second home for people? Scientists and the general public were surprised by these questions, and the Soviet Union was determined to find answers. This led to the era of Venera missions. The Soviet Union launched a series of spacecraft called Venera to explore Venus with the aim of understanding the planet's atmosphere, surface, and general processes. In his book, Michio Kaku cites images of Venus from the Soviet Union's Venera probe, which was the first and only spacecraft to return images from the surface of a planet, now exploring Venus without walking on the floor. Conditions are very difficult there. We're talking scorching temperatures that melt the surface, clouds full of sulfuric acid and high atmospheric pressure that can make people sick. But the Soviet Union did not surrender. They were ready to face these challenges. The first project in this ambitious endeavor was Venera 1, launched in 1961. But things did not go as planned. Instead of reaching Venus, Venus flew 162,000 miles ahead. Instead of accepting defeat, the Soviet Union showed great strength. Venera 2 was quickly assembled and launched the following year. But despite their efforts, Venera 2 followed in the previous footsteps and never reached Venus. As they say, the third time is a charm. The Soviet Union kept the idea alive and launched Venera 3 in 1965. This time they won the gold. Although Venera 3 didn't make an easy landing, it was a crash landing. In fact, it managed to send a powerful message to Earth for a few minutes before succumbing to Venus's brutal tactics. This experience was a turning point in the Soviet Union's approach to their space activities. They knew their spacecraft needed major upgrades to be able to gather enough data from Venus. They built their spaceships more powerful and filled them with more advanced equipment. Each spacecraft is now equipped with a detachable pod known as a landing module. These units were filled with a number of instruments, including echo, radar altimeter, air filter, and thermometer. The goal is to collect as much data as possible in the shortest time possible for the astronaut to survive on the surface of Venus. So, what did the Soviets find on Venus that they hid? To answer that, we need to dig into the past, look at the records of later Venera missions, and perhaps look at declassified documents from the Soviet space program. Venera's work did not stop at Venera 3. The Soviet Union came up with Venera 4, a game-changer that reached the surface of Venus. But it wasn't just the landing that made the mission so amazing. That's what Venera 4 found. Venus' atmosphere is full of gas. This greenhouse gas traps heat and explains why the surface of Venus is so hot, up to 864 degrees Fahrenheit, hotter than Mercury, the planet closest to the Sun. This discovery greatly helped to understand the climate and topography of Venus, and served as an ominous warning to Earth if greenhouse gases continue to accumulate in our atmosphere. In addition to carbon dioxide, Venera 4 discovered that Venus does not have a magnetosphere. On Earth, the magnetic field protects us from the wind and the sun's harmful rays. Without it, life as we know it would not be possible. The discovery suggests that life as we know it may not exist on Venus, but these revelations are only the beginning. The Venera mission continued to deepen our understanding of Venus. Venera 5 and Venera 6, launched in 1969, confirmed the harsh conditions of Venus' atmosphere, including its high temperature and pressure. Then came Venera 7 and Venera 8, part of the next wave of Venus exploration. Venera 7, launched in 1970, was the first successful spacecraft. The story did not end with Venera 8. The Soviet Union continued to refine its Venus missions by launching Venera 9 and Venera 10 in 1975. These two missions were important for one important reason. They were the first to take pictures of the surface of Venus. Mysterious images that Michio Kaku described were taken by Venera 9 and Venera 10. But it is not an easy task. Imagine sending a camera to a planet where the temperature rises to 850 degrees Fahrenheit and the atmospheric pressure is 90 times that of Earth, conditions that would destroy a submarine. However, in these circumstances, Venera 9 and 10 not only survived, they survived and sent data and images back to Earth. The black and white photos they provided were grainy but very revealing. What they showed was a rocky, flat landscape that looked like a volcano, with large rocks and sharp edges scattered across the surface. No rivers, no lakes, no seas. It's just a dry, lonely, alien world that can't support life as we know it. The Soviets continued their exploration of Venus with Venera 11, Venera 12, and finally, the final missions Venera 13 and 14 in 1982. These two missions were the most successful of the Venera project and download more detailed images. Collecting comprehensive data from Venus. In fact, Venera 13 holds the record for the longest surface mission on Venus, completing 127 minutes before crashing into the planet's harsh environment. Venera 13 also performed a chemical analysis of Venus' surface. The survey used a drill to collect rock samples, which were analyzed using X-ray spectroscopy. Observations: the rocks of Venus are similar to basalt, a volcanic rock found on Earth. This suggests that Venus, like Earth, experienced volcanic activity in the past. These missions painted a clearer picture of Venus, a world formed by intense volcanism, intense heat, and a dense atmosphere. These revelations also raised new questions. If Venus and Earth started out in similar situations, why is Venus so evil? Why did the greenhouse effect turn Venus into the fiery, acidic world it is today? This is where Michio Kaku and today's researchers come in. Kaku often talks about the lessons we can learn from Venus as we think about the future of our planet. Studying the climate and atmosphere of Venus is a scary example of what could happen to Earth if we don't control our greenhouse gas emissions. Venus has a warning message about the negative effects of climate change, but there is another side to Zara's story, a very hopeful one. Despite the harsh conditions of the planet, some scientists believe that Venus may still hold signs of life, or even know the limits of space where life could exist. In recent years, there has been a renewed interest in probing the Venusian atmosphere for signs of microbial life. In 2020, astronomers will find traces of phosphine gas in the upper atmosphere of Venus, which could be a sign of microbial life. Although the discovery is still controversial, it has rekindled interest in Venus in the scientific community. What is the future of Venus exploration? NASA and the European Space Agency plan to send new missions to Venus in the coming years. The purpose of these missions is to explore the atmosphere and geography of the world, and to search for signs of past or present life. For Michio Kaku and other forward-looking scientists, Venus remains a fascinating and important planet. A glimpse into the past and future of planetary evolution, it serves as a reminder of the delicate balance that sustains life on Earth. Looking at these mysterious images from the Soviet Venus project, we remember not only the wonders of the past, but the great mysteries that still await us in our aim to understand the world. From the scorching heat of Venus to the icy moons of the outer planets, human space exploration has only just begun. Play dramatic music as the screen transforms into a grand view of the night sky, full of stars. The camera zooms in on Venus, now shining in the sky, a reminder of the mysteries still waiting to be discovered in our vast universe. When the speaker loses his voice, the audience is amazed at the world.